has been a while since we've had anything new to share regarding the situation with the Bally Sports regional sports networks, but they've now taken another step towards their own collapse as they were unable to negotiate a deal with Comcast. Comcast, primarily through their cable service Xfinity, was a major revenue source for Diamond Sports Group, the owner of the Bally networks, and the broadcasts were cut off at the beginning of the day on May 1st as Comcast rights to the broadcast network expired. This directly affects 12 teams within the MLB, including the Twins, Brewers, Cardinals, and Royals. Of those four, only Royals fans have an alternate method to access the game because Diamond also has the streaming rights that consumers can access through Bally Sports Plus. As for the other teams, your luck is really running dry to access games right now because of limited area coverage by Fubo and DirecTV and no carriage from any other TV provider. Today is Friday, May 3rd. I'm Matt Menson, and welcome to the Cornfield Sports Pod. Blake,
of how many times you talk about Bally Sports and like their limited area coverage, I swear.
It's not good.
It's terrible.
It is a bad situation right now for the MLB because if you only have 3 TV providers that you're getting anything with, and then you lose one of them, that's a huge, huge hit to revenue.
Yeah, and like for me, I only get with my cable provider NBC Sports Chicago and Bally Sports Midwest, like literally nothing else. So all I get is the Poverty Sox and the Royals. And
right, the only RSN I get is NBC Chicago with YouTube TV. So it's tough right now.
It's like not all of us can live just a little bit more ways up north, just to watch Twins.
No, because the only place in Iowa that Fubo gives Bally Sports North is the Mason City broadcast area. Nothing for the Omaha Council Bluffs area, nothing for the Des Moines area, nothing for the Cedar Rapids area. So it's a tough spot to be in right now if you're trying to watch Major League Baseball broadcasts with 8 of the teams just becoming unavailable to a very large number of fans.
Iowa deserves better. MLB fans in Iowa deserve
This
better.
isn't just an Iowa thing. This is nationwide. So, if you're trying to watch, the Angels on Bally Sports SoCal, and you're in the California area, if your provider is through Comcast, if it's a cable provider through Comcast, I don't know if it's Xfinity there or if it's under a different brand name, you're not getting them anymore. If you're trying to watch the Braves down in Georgia, sorry, you're not getting that through Xfinity anymore. That's a tough spot to be in, and yeah, you're not getting the Royals, Brewers, Twins, or Cardinals here, through cable provider. And before, that was the only way you were going to get anything unless you had the satellite version of DirecTV. That was it. The DirecTV stream does not carry some of them, aside from Bally Midwest. So if you wanted Twins or Brewers, you have to have the satellite version of DirecTV now. That's the only legal way to access games now. Yeah. You're not getting it through cable. So that is a tough spot to be in. But that means you're going to have to listen to the Cornfield Sports Pod for your MLB updates. So, you know what, whatever, it's fine. Minnesota Twins right now, 17-13, 4th in the AL Central. You want proof that the AL Central is overperforming right now? The Twins' record would be at least 3rd in any other division in the MLB, 2nd in a couple of them, and it would even be 1st in the AL West.
Because look how many games they won.
Yeah, 17. I mean, being, 4 games over 500 right now is a good spot to be in. They're the hottest team in the MLB, 10-game win streak. It's the first time they've done that since 2008. And in the market difference between now, this hot win streak, and where the Twins were at the beginning of the season, it's hitting, it's offense. We're manufacturing runs now. Because the Twins struggled mightily. They were at the very bottom of the league in hitting. They were at the very bottom of the league in scoring outside of the White Sox. And now, all of a sudden, over the last 10 games, we're averaging 7.6 runs per game during that streak. And we only had one game, I think, where we scored 3 runs, and I think that was the lowest scoring. Pretty much everything else had, 5 or 6 or more. And this started during the White Sox series with the hit sausage, which this is this is one of the more interesting good luck charms I've seen.
Tell me about this because I haven't heard about this.
This is a wonderful good luck charm that Rocco Baldelli is terrified is going to make the Twins' dugout smell absolutely nasty when the package breaks on this thing. So Kyle Farmer received this sausage from a sponsor, and now some of the he brought it into the dugout. Now some of the players, they touch it as a good luck charm before they go to bat. And then anytime someone gets a home run or there's scoring on the offense, as they come back into the dugout, catcher Ryan Jeffers will throw the sausage at them as they jump back into the dugout. It is something else. But if it gets you, 10 wins in a row, I guess it works.
The damn sausage.
10 wins in a row and counting.
We got to find the sausage company.
It's I wish I had it written down. Something called, it was like a summer tangy sausage is what it was called, but I don't remember who the company that made it was. But yeah, no, Rocco Baldelli even was talking about this in a post-game interview that they're worried about, or that he's worried about the packaging breaking. Yeah, it's and then it being a health hazard and him having to put guys on sick leave.
Oh, I could see it being a health hazard, like if they eat it. Or
well, I don't think they're gonna eat it, but when that package breaks and the juices spill all over.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that would smell bad.
But yeah, no, as part of this 10-game win streak, they added 6 more wins to that streak here in the last week. They swept the Angels in Anaheim 3-0, and then they swept the White Sox in Chicago 3-0.
Yeah, no surprise there.
In that last game, Juan Duran, back from the injured list, earned his save in the first appearance this year. Good to have the flamethrower back because, it's hard to hit a 103-mile-an-hour fastball. And it's hard to hit a 96-mile-an-hour splitter. So that's where we're at. The Twins bullpen up to full health, and now we can go back to using Griffin Jackson, Caleb Thielbar as setup guys instead of as closers, because that's what they're best at. Although, granted, if you put Griffin Jackson on the bullpen of probably 24, 25 of the other MLB teams, he'd be the closer. So, but yeah. Add that, Twins getting back to health here. Max Kepler and Carlos Correa also activated from the injured list, so we're headed back in a positive direction there. Kep's been hitting fantastic since he got back from the IL too. Marked difference from before his injury at the start of the year, but I guess you can say that about the whole team too. Additionally, some roster moves. They traded right-hand pitcher, reliever Matt Bowman to the Arizona Diamondbacks just for cash considerations. No players coming to the Twins franchise. And they'll be starting a 7-game homestand here tonight against the Red Sox. They'll have 3 games against the Red Sox. And then after that, they'll follow that up with a 4-game series versus the Seattle Mariners.
Go back to D-backs for a second. You mean the B-backs?
Oh, yeah, the bees?
The B-backs.
The 2-hour bee delay at an indoor ballpark? That was... At least the beekeeper that they had remove the bees got to throw the first pitch.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't see that part.
Yeah, that was a thing that happened. Yeah, if you ain't seen this, yeah, look into the MLB's first ever beehive delay. At an indoor ballpark. That's what blows my mind. They very rarely open the roof at Chase Field because it gets so blistering hot down in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I guess they had a beehive at Chase Field. And, yeah, here we are.
And Stadium Ops.
Talking about a 2-hour bee delay.
Stadium Ops, did they even see it before the game?
Well, they saw it before the game because they didn't start the game until after they'd removed it.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if what do we do about this? What do we do about this? And then
well, they called the beekeeper, and the beekeeper came in and removed it, and then threw the first pitch. So that was a thing that happened. Chicago White Sox, Blake?
Poverty Sox?
Yeah, Poverty Sox.
How did they sweep the Rays? No,
I would love to know that.
No,
but
it has
the
to
Rays are floundering too.
Yeah, Rays and
They're not quite Miami Marlins floundering.
Rays
but
in shambles.
Baseball in the state of Florida is in a rough spot right now.
Nah, Rays and shambles.
And they can't watch their
Marlins.
team. Well, I guess they can't. At least they can watch their teams though, because the Rays and the Marlins are both covered by Bally Sports Plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's. I'm mad at Diamond over this, and at Comcast, even though I don't have Comcast provided cable.
Diamond Sports hates fans.
It's regional sports networks just in general hate fans. It's a terrible system.
No.
But here we are.
They got swept by the Twins again.
Yep. White Sox swept by the Twins for the second time in a week, since they did that last week too. But yeah, not a lot of change on the South side, except that they're not on pace for the worst season in history anymore. Garrett Crochet is still their best player. Tommy Pham is still their best hitter. That hasn't changed. They're going to begin a 6-game road trip here. 3 games at the Cards, 3s at the Rays. Will they sweep the Rays again? Probably not, especially because it's going to be at the Trop, where there's going to be a whole 7 fans, which will be maybe there will be more White Sox fans at the Trop than there will be Rays fans.
So there's going to be 10 White Sox fans and 7 Rays fans.
Probably be something like that. It'll be the entire fan base for both teams. Yeah. And then after that, after those 2 home series, they will return home for the beginning of a series against the Cleveland Guardians. No off days for the White Sox this coming week. The Royals, mixed bag for them on this week. 1-2 in the series at the Tigers, 2-1 at the Blue Jays. This is the only team locally that's fortunate enough to have a mitigated effect from that diamond fallout.
Bruh.
They're the only one of the 4 teams locally that are Bally teams that are streamable on Bally Sports Plus. So, yeah, and then like I said, the Marlins, Rays, and Tigers are the only other ones. So, it's if you're a Royals fan, you at least have alternative options to watch their games, or at least an alternative option that works regardless of who your cable provider is.
Yeah.
It would have been, as for everybody else, I don't know where Diamond is supposed to get the revenue to pay these teams for the rest of the year. Maybe it's going to look like the MLB taking over more broadcasts the way they had to do with the D-backs and Padres last year. At least that would lift regional blackouts.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be a nice welcome change for the Cards, Twins, and Brewers. But going along with the Royals here, Seth Lugo, starting pitcher Seth Lugo, dude's been looking like the real deal on the mound. 5-1 on the year so far. That's a good start for him.
Like we said, we can't sleep on the Royals this year.
Dude, no, they came out of nowhere this year. Didn't make a ton of roster trades and free agent signings during the offseason. A lot of the big ones were ones that, or I shouldn't say a lot of the big ones, but by as far as magnitude goes, the biggest one was them re-signing Bobby Witt Jr., who was, far and away their best player, because Bobby Witt's just a dude. But Seth Lugo though.
I love that 5-1 record.
5-1 record, 1.6 ERA and 1.02 walks, hits per inning pitched. That's going to win you games. And that's going to win you a lot of games if you keep pitching consistently doing that. And 6 games into the season, I think you can start to say there's a fair element of consistency to doing that. It's one thing when you've done it, 2 or 3 games into the year. 6 games into the year, now we're talking about a trend. Keep pitching at that rate, and we're talking about potential Cy Young contention in the AL from Seth Lugo, who is not a name that I would have been looking at the start of the season. But here we are. And the Royals, they will be starting a 6-game homestand, 3 versus the Rangers and then 3 versus the Brewers. And then right after that, they will take another road trip. They will head to Anaheim to play the Angels and presumably sweep them because the Angels are floundering because Mike Trout is their only good player, seemingly at this point, unless someone just happens to have a good day. Tough to be an Angels fan right now, too. Milwaukee Brewers. This is going to be an interesting segment here.
Somehow instant first place in the NL Central.
Yeah, they're 19-11 by being potentially the most inconsistent team that could have possibly ever existed in the last week.
I feel like both Cubs and Brewers like I know they're like at each other's throats like for that first place spot, but
they're at each other's throats, and the Cubs blew a chance to take first, and we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, we will.
But yeah, Brewers 1-2 versus the Yankees, and those two losses versus the Yankees in the second and third games, those were, well, if you were a Brewers fan, you stopped watching in the fifth inning of probably either of those games because it's just, you give up 15 runs in 2 games in a row while scoring 3 and 5 respectively. That's a disaster for the Brewers, and that's a morale killer. And you would expect that something like that would really drive your team to, just hammer it home in the next game, because you don't want to be repeating performances like that. But after following up those 2 15-run allowed games, they host the Rays, and then they only allow 1 run. So improvement. Or so you would think, because even though they only allowed 1 run, they scored 0. They still lost.
Oh, jeez.
That was a tough 3-game stretch for any Brewers fan. Your pitching finally shows up after being completely absent for 2 games, and then your hitting just is nowhere to be found. During the Tuesday night game against the Rays, we've got some suspensions after some fighting and other unpleasantries in that game.
Yeah, we got drama.
We got drama, all right. Brewers manager Pat Murphy, the manager got suspended. 2 games after Freddie Peralta plunked a batter intentionally. That was the batter he plunked was Jose Siri, Rays outfielder. And then Pat Murphy got ejected also for conduct towards umpires regarding that incident. Freddie Peralta was suspended 5 games for plunking Siri. And then relief pitcher Abner Uribe suspended 6 games for squaring up with Jose Siri. 2 innings after Siri got plunked by Peralta. Whether or not these events are related is still kind of anybody's guess, aside from the fact that Siri was involved in them. But like Siri said, like he doesn't really have any particular problems with Peralta. So where the intentional plunking came from, who knows?
I don't know if emotions were high, but
I guess. Since Uribe and not Uribe and Peralta, Uribe and Siri squared up 2 innings after Siri got plunked, Siri also got suspended as well. He only got a 3-game suspension, and then it was reduced to 2 games. So why the drastic difference between Uribe and Siri's, I don't know, but that's what it is. And I think Series is actually completely served already by now, because that would have been Wednesday, Thursday.
Yep.
So Series already back eligible for the Rays. The Brewers here, they're going to be beginning a 6-game road trip, 3 at the Cubs, 3 at the Royals. Then they will return home to begin a 4-game slate against the Cards. Let's talk about the Cubs. The Cubs that really...
The Cubs that slipped.
The Cubs that had a chance to take first in the NL Central and didn't.
I know Cubs fans who are in pain right now, in shambles.
Dude, you're still dressing wounds from that second game at Fenway Park.
Yeah.
That was disgusting.
I know.
But yeah, 1-2 at the Red Sox. The Cubs won the first one and then lost the next two. But that second one was probably the ugliest game so far of the season.
So the final score graphic was so tiny you have to zoom in to see those numbers. It's like what the Cubs or Marquee Sports posted on their socials.
Yeah, you don't really want to take a look at that because 17-0 loss is not pretty.
No.
It is not pretty. So, yeah, you're probably better off not looking at it.
Yeah. I know Northwoods League teams that would just put something on their socials as like, show us the score. No.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, 6 runs apiece in the 6th and the 8th innings that the Cubs allowed in that game. That means that the Red Sox batted around twice in one game.
That's what?
That's crazy. It's crazy when that happens once, but for that to happen twice, that's just wild. And then after that series at the Red Sox, take a trip to Citi Field, play the Mets for 4 games. They split the series 2-2. But yeah, it's a tough break for the Cubs. They missed the opportunity to pass a struggling Brewers team for first in the NL Central. And I mean, they'll have some opportunity to do some damage beginning tonight because they'll be playing the Brewers. But yeah, that Mets series ended on a walk-off double in the 11th inning. And if the Cubs win that, then they're 20-12, and they're no games behind the Brewers. Their record their record percentage-wise would still not be quite as good, so they would still be behind in that terms. But they would be 0 games behind the Brewers with a chance to take the lead outright tonight. No, that's not the case. But on the bright side for the Cubs, Shota Imanaga, what a pickup he has been.
Absolutely amazing.
I mean, we were talking just a minute ago about Seth Lugo being a contender for the AL Cy Young, and Shota Imanaga's numbers are making Lugo look like child's play. Undefeated so far on the year in his starts. 0.78 ERA, which is the best in the MLB. A .75 WHIP, that's third in the MLB. And so far to this point in the season, Imanaga has only allowed 3 earned runs. That's it. That's crazy.
That's crazy for a pickup like that.
Yeah, that's half your starting pitchers are going to allow that per game. Yeah. And that's what Imanaga's done across 5 games now. So that's really, really good for Imanaga. Yeah, been a fantastic next man up in the Justin Steele absence with the injuries there. You really can't ask for more from the guy that you expected to be second in your rotation, and now is probably the front runner for the NL Cy Young early in the year.
Yeah, no shots fired to Justin Steele. I hope he's somewhere just absolutely smiling right now. He did make a rehab starts with the Iowa Cubs. Long story short, wasn't the best starts. I know because I was there.
Is he's having more rehab starts at the I Cubs, isn't he?
He did the other day with one of our doubleheaders. I'm not sure on his return because
before he gets called back up.
Yes.
Okay. But anyway, the Cubs will be starting a 6-game homestand at Wrigley Field. 3 games against the Brewers, 3 games against the Padres. And they'll get a day off here in this week. So only 6 games in 7 days. The Cards, 2-1 in the series at the Mets, 1-2 at the Tigers, 3-3 total in the last week. Puts them at 14-17, which is 4th in the NL Central. Few games behind 500. Their second game against Detroit was another difficult game for the Cardinals defense. 11 runs allowed in that game. Aside from that, nothing too crazy noteworthy from the Cards. It's been a pretty mediocre week for them. The best, or maybe not best, but at least most notable It's probably that 2-1 win in that first game at Detroit. Because it at least got the pitching locked down, get in a pitcher's duel, and the defense performing really solidly, but the bats were not exactly there in that game. Yeah. But they will be starting a 6-game homestand here tonight. 3 games versus the White Sox, 3 games versus the Mets, and then they will take a trip up to Milwaukee and begin a road trip there. Let's talk about the NBA playoffs, Blake.
Yeah, sure.
That's big deal right now.
That is a big deal right now.
Let's start with the Bucks. They're done now.
So the season is over.
Season's over for the Bucks. They lost at Gainbridge Fieldhouse last night, 120-98 to the Pacers. The Pacers will advance to play the New York Knicks. But this game, it got emotional at the end.
It did get emotional, especially Patrick Beverley making the headlines.
Yeah, with chucking the ball into the crowd.
Yeah, he chucked the ball into his crowd. He was aiming for someone, and then it ended up hitting someone else behind the guy he was aiming at.
Which that doesn't really make it any better that he was aiming for anybody in specific, anybody specifically in the first place.
But no, the guy he was aiming at eventually got the ball, just tossed it back to him, and that was a mistake on him because Beverly threw it again.
Yeah, that's
it's you can see in the video, and back in the locker room, he refused an interview with ESPN because the reporter that came in, Beverly said that she wasn't listening to Beverly's podcast. I'm like, what are you doing?
What kind of logic is that?
That's terrible. Completely unprofessional. I know emotions are high, but completely uncalled for.
Yeah, no, at least it's not what Draymond would do.
No,
Draymond would have just blocked her.
Yeah, Draymond.
But if that's the standard that we're comparing things to, then, let's not compare things to the Draymond standard.
Yeah, let's not.
Draymond's probably about one technical foul away from getting ejected from the league permanently. So, and if not one, then maybe one more. And if not that, then maybe one more. I'm gonna keep saying one more until it happens, because I think it should have already happened. So
everyone should have.
But yeah, upcoming for the Bucks. What are you gonna be doing here? Lamenting the trade of Jrue Holiday? Yeah, I'm not sure Dame Lillard was actually an improvement for you, because the Celtics with Jrue Holiday now are looking like one of the best NBA teams I've probably witnessed in my lifetime. They are something else right now. Are they the 96, 97 Bulls? No. But, and I wasn't alive for them. But the Celtics right now are really something else, and I think the Bucks drew the short end of the stick on that trade. Where, they were able to improve their offense with Dame, but the defense certainly took a hit, and it's not like Holiday couldn't play offense. So it was a tough break for the Bucks, not meeting expectations, getting eliminated by a division rival, and now you have to figure out how exactly you're going to improve that in the offseason, because that's where we're at now. If you're the Bucks, and if you're a Bulls fan like me, you're happy to see the Bucks eliminated. Minnesota Timberwolves, on the other hand, the lone representative from the local teams remaining, previous week swept the Suns 4-0 in their first sweep in Timberwolves history.
Suns in shambles.
KD's washed. KD is totally washed. He's
totally washed, dude. You see no LeBron, no KD, and no of our bigger players we've had in recent history.
If aliens invaded and said that they were only gonna leave if we beat them in a 5-on-5 basketball game, you see what I'm getting at here?
Yes.
Of current players in their current state, I'm not choosing Looney Tunes characters here. But if I'm choosing 5 current players, how they're playing today, I'm not taking LeBron, I'm not taking Curry, and I'm not taking KD.
No, I'm not.
5 years ago, I probably would have took all three of them.
I'm not taking any of them either.
I wouldn't take any of them right now.
Tyrese Halliburton, no question.
Halliburton's probably on the list. Jokic, Giannis, Doncic, and who would I probably put for that fifth one? Jason Tatum.
Ah, good.
Yeah. But yeah.
But just tough break.
Yeah, tough break. But for the Timberwolves, and then Ant Edwards, though. Ant Edwards. Ant-Man could be on that list, too.
I forgot. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, Timberwolves. Chris Finch, back to coaching practice on crutches after he had to get surgery on his right knee for a ruptured tendon.
Yeah. He will be expected in Denver for Game 1.
That's tomorrow night.
Yes.
And then they'll have their next game after that on Monday night. Both of those games will be in Denver.
Against those Nuggets.
Yep.
Yeah. Might be a tough one, tough series for Timberwolves.
I think they can take out the Nuggets.
Think so?
I think they're deeper, and the only reason that they slipped in the standings toward the end of the year was when Karl Anthony Towns was out, and he's back. And even though Towns is a little bit turnover prone, the rest of the team plays so much better when Towns is on the floor. And Towns is good on defense. Him and Gobert are a nightmare for other teams on the boards. And I think that you put Cat and Gobert together on the floor at the same time, that might be the perfect way to deal with Jokic. So I think if there's any team that's equipped perfectly to beat the Nuggets in a 7-game series, I'll take the Timberwolves. I'll take the Timberwolves over the Celtics for that.
Timberwolves run.
I think the Timberwolves are perfectly built for it.
Timberwolves run to round 3.
Timberwolves are going to probably the NBA Finals, in my opinion. I like them to beat the Nuggets, and I like them to beat the Thunder. So that's how that's going to go, in my opinion. Let's talk some collegiate action here. We got a little bit of news with Iowa State football. After waiting for an entire month, we finally got the new unis announced, aside from the mysterious fourth picture.
And what did you think of them?
To be honest, I thought they were kind of mid. But they're only getting new uniform tops. They're not getting new pants. They're not getting new helmets. No.
I do like the shoulder stripes.
I think it kind of makes them look like Ronald McDonald.
There was a lot of Ronald McDonald comparison, like from
the team out east, and they're not wrong. They're not.
I know.
I don't like to give them credit, but I have to give credit where it is due.
And then our Twitterers are saying, just wait for the Ronald McDonalds to trounce you guys.
It's the Ronald McDonald's or ketchup and mustard. I'm going to miss the lightning bolt stripe from the current unis.
I know.
I loved the lightning bolt, and now I think that the new ones are just a little bit more bland, to be honest.
I still dig the blacks.
Yeah, the new blacks look all right. I like the old black unis better, though.
I do.
And now it depends on which old black unis, because when they first debuted the black unis, they had like chrome colored numbers and not the white ones. I liked it better with the chrome or the silver, whatever you want to call it, than the white. I think that looked much, much better.
Yeah. I'm also not ready. Like if people are like gonna throw Ronald McDonald at us, is like we don't need another like jab at our uniforms like last year.
Well, at least it's not. At least we're not getting argued at for copying USC, like we were in the Paul Rhodes days.
Well, no.
Although to be fair, I will contend that the Trojan unis are better than the new ones. That's going to be a hot take, and and I know there's not going to be a lot of people that agree with me on that one. But I like the Trojan unis better than the new ones. Yeah. And I really miss the old, the Seneca Wallace era jerseys, back when Tornado Bird was our logo.
Is that the fourth picture?
I would sure hope so, but I doubt it.
I doubt it too, but one can only hope.
I would love it. Now, because it doesn't match the design, since they're only getting new uniform tops, and they're not getting new helmets or anything like that, then that means they're not going to be putting the Tornado Bird logo on helmets. So I don't think that would make a lot of sense. I think what they're going to end up doing is just straight white unis with no cardinal or gold, and with the black stripes. The alleged Stormtrooper unis that we've been hearing in the rumor mill for a while now, and it would make sense to release that design on May 4th, since that's Star Wars Day. So that would make perfect sense if that's the mysterious fourth picture. I'm really hoping with the new unis though that if they do use the gold pants this season, because they brought the gold pants back in the pictures, I really hope they don't use it with the white unis because I don't like that look.
Me neither.
I'm fine with it.
I can just picture it now.
I'm fine with it with the red unis, but I really, really don't like it with the white unis. I think the white unis require white pants, to be honest. I don't like the red pants look with the white unis either.
Yeah.
I want to go back to doing frosty whites. I know Campbell doesn't like them. We haven't done them in forever because he's a little bit superstitious about, having when we've done the frosty whites, we've lost games. But like, I don't know, it's such a crisp look. Do the frosty whites when we're playing against a team that has a turf field, because then they don't get the grass stains either. They're crisp the entire game. They look so good on camera. They're amazing. So I think that'd be awesome. I don't think we play at Baylor this year. I think we host Baylor this year.
Yeah, I think we should host Baylor.
Who else has turf fields in the Big 12 that we're going to be playing at? I don't remember. But yeah, I hope we do frosty whites this year. On top of that, Blake, you want to get into the 26 student athletes who've filed a lawsuit against the DCI now?
Yes.
For that illegal investigation?
Yes, we talked about this with Vinny a few months back. So like we dove into that at the time. So the lawsuit alleges the actions of the DCI and Department of Public Safety caused deprivation, if I said that right.
Yep.
Of their constitutional rights, along with emotional distress and damages. Like,
so that's what they're suing for, is the punitive damages.
Yes, because I don't think I said this when I initially recorded this with Vinny, but I was looking at it and I was thinking like that's a violation of their Fourth Amendment rights, like unreasonable search and seizure.
Right. Well, my understanding too is that the initial confessions related to some of the gambling was given under the premise that there would not be legal action taken against it. They were just basically going to have to stop doing it and maybe have to deal with some internal penalties, but that they weren't going to have the hammer of the law put down on them. And then that premise wasn't followed. So that really put them in a bind because, when you're doing basically legal negotiation like that, you have to keep your word. That's not a thing that you can just go back on like that. So that's a tough spot to be into.
And the NCAA involvements didn't make that any better because
the NCAA getting involved in pretty much anything other than a basketball tournament doesn't make it better. And with the rumors that we're hearing about the Big 12 potentially being on board with an expansion, no, your mark, no. But anyway, yeah, no, just leave the basketball tournament as it is. Leave all of the NCAA tournaments as they are. They are perfect just the way they are. They should not be touched. Do not expand them. We don't need more cupcakes in there.
I agree with Matt.
But yeah, that's the way that's the way it needs to be. As far as the regulatory stuff, pretty much anything the NCAA touches goes to hell. So that's the situation there. Softball update, Blake.
Swept by Texas. Yeah, let's not, because we barely put runs on the board. So
horns down.
Thank you. That got in my camera, by the way.
Nice.
So that was our last showing on the Longhorn Network. I will be watching its final moments come June.
Is that supposed to be like a funeral procession for the Longhorn Network or something?
Well, I'm going to make sure it's a funeral procession for the Longhorn Network.
I'm not going to miss it.
I'm not going to miss it either. We did get the win at Drake in Des Moines, 9-8. Jaden Ralston, towards the end, she was able to shut down the Bulldogs like on the mound, the bottom of the sixth, even after Bulldogs had scored a few dingers.
Yeah, I did. She got the save then.
Yep.
Yeah, not a lot left for ISU softball here.
Then there'll come a Big 12, and then unsure after that. But up this
Probably nothing after Big 12s because I doubt they're going to make regionals.
Yeah, I know. After that will be, well, no, not after that. But this weekend will be UCF series. This will be last home game stretch. Then we'll recognize seniors on Sunday. Those will be Carly Charles, Callie Goss, Abby Gunter, Sophia Maras, Camille Martin, Malaysia Ochoa, Alicia Ranchez, Carly Spellhog, and Kelly Travis.
And this is actually a bit kind of a senior day in and of itself on this show. This is going to be
let's do this now.
This is going to be producer Vinny's last episode in the studio.
Should we turn? I don't know how this would work. Like if
it wouldn't really work. We're not going to be able to focus the camera back on the control room. But
is Vinny graduating from the Cornfield Sports Pod?
Yeah, Vinny's going to be not at Iowa State anymore. So, he won't be able to be in studio with us back on the control room anymore, running those soundboards and, occasionally yelling at me through the mic when I make fun of the Blackhawks. I had to get one last jab in there, Vinny.
Nah, because like what?
Yep.
What a career that Vinny's had, like especially at Iowa State. I see him help out with like the student union board so much, like his involvement there, like especially with our ISU darks.
Day after dark.
After darks, yep.
Yep. But yeah, it's been a privilege to have Vinny back behind the control panel back there. We brought him on maybe a month into starting this project back in September. So we brought him in October.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic contributor to the writing, especially when it comes to NHL. That's his stock and trade, and then I use it to make fun of the Blackhawks. I got 2 last jabs in there. But yeah, good to have him in there, and
I hope this helps you out in the future.
Yeah, best wishes, man. But now that we've got that out of the way, make sure you follow the Cornfield Sports Pod on Twitter at @CSportsPod. Blake?
You can find me at BlakeAttack1846. You can find Vinny at VinaciousISD on Twitter.
It's the last time we're going to plug his Twitter, so make sure you go and follow it. That's particularly important. Of course, you can find me at SFMattISU. Tap the follow button on Spotify, the plus button on Apple, subscribe on YouTube and Rumble, hit that bell for notifications because that's what makes us actually pop up on your home screen.
This is Blake Peterson.
I'm Matt Menson. Our producer, or can I say former producer? Is that not true until 5 seconds from now? Our producer is Vinny Cataldo, and this has been the Cornfield Sports Pod.